All right, hello and welcome back. We've made it to the final and honestly, probably the most important part of our whole RFI Detective series. You've learned all about what RFI is, where it hides, and even some clever ways to track it down. But now, we're going to tackle the big one. When do you throw in the towel on the DIY stuff and actually call for help? Let's get right into it.
So just as a quick reminder, this is it, part 10 of our 10-part tutorial. And everything we're talking about comes straight from this amazing report on radio frequency interference in office buildings, put together by the folks at RFI Detectives. They're part of Virtualization Options, LLC. What's so great about it is that it's written for managers, not engineers, to help you get a real handle on this invisible problem that can cause some very real headaches. Okay, so let's picture this. You've done everything we've talked about. You've got the AM radio out, you've been unplugging devices one by one, you've got a whole log of every weird Wi-Fi drop and flickering screen, but the ghost in the machine is still there. It's driving you nuts, it's messing up people's work. What do you do now? Where do you go from here?
And this is such a key point. Calling for help? It's not about giving up. Not at all. The report really frames this as a valuable skill. Knowing when you've hit your limit and it's time to bring in an expert, that's a smart move. It's what stops a small annoyance from turning into a month-long productivity killer. We're talking about saving time and money here, not saving face.
So, to make this super simple, we're going to lay out what the report calls the RFI Expert Ladder. Think of it as your step-by-step guide for who to call and when. Each rung is a different level of help, and the trick is just knowing which one to step on first. So, let's start at the very first rung. All right, first up, your own IT team. For most of the common stuff you're going to run into, these are your go-to people. They're your front line.
So, when do you call them? Well, is your Wi-Fi just awful? Is the network dropping out for no reason? Got a wireless keyboard that seems, possessed? That is squarely in their wheelhouse. They've got the tools to see what's going on with the network, find any rogue devices someone might have plugged in, and make sure your access points are set up right. For sure, this is always where you start.
Okay, let's say you've done that. You've worked with IT, but all signs keep pointing to one particular gadget. This is when we climb up to the next rung of the ladder.
And it's pretty obvious when you need to make this call. Think about it. Did all this craziness start the day you plugged in that brand new industrial-sized copier? Or are your cordless phones just full of static all the time? The manufacturer knows their product inside and out. They know how it's supposed to behave, what it might conflict with, and hey, maybe there's a simple software update that fixes the whole thing. Just be ready to give them all that info you've been tracking.
All right, so now we're getting into the really tough cases. Your IT team is scratching their heads. The equipment manufacturer is stumped, but the problem is still there, and it's starting to cost you. This is when you bring in the specialists.
So what exactly is an RFI specialist? Well, think of them as a real-life Ghostbuster for radio waves. They are true detectives. They don't guess. They show up with some seriously specialized equipment that lets them literally see the invisible world of radio signals in your office. They find the noise that's hiding from everyone else.
And what they can do is pretty incredible. They can use things like spectrum analyzers to draw you a map of your office's entire RF environment. They can pinpoint the exact source of the problem. Maybe it's a cheap phone charger in the corner, or a cable that's not shielded right. And if the problem is really bad, they can recommend bigger solutions, like special shielding. Yeah, this is who you call for those really, really stubborn problems. Okay, we are now at the very top of the ladder. This is the final authority. And look, you'll probably never need to make this call, but it's really important to know it's an option, especially when the problem isn't even coming from inside your building. But let's be super clear here. You contact the Federal Communications Commission, the FCC, only in very specific, very serious situations. We're talking about when you're pretty sure the interference is coming from an outside source, like a neighbor, and you have good reason to believe they're operating illegally or outside their license. And it has to be seriously impacting your business. You absolutely must have all your ducks in a row with documentation, dates, times, the effects. It's not a quick process, but they're the ones with the power to deal with it. Whew. Okay, so we've climbed the whole ladder. Now, let's pull everything we've talked about in this entire series together into one simple action plan. This is your game plan for dealing with RFI from beginning to end. Look, it really boils down to just 4 steps. Step 1, understand. Recognize the signs of RFI and what it's costing your business. Step 2, identify. Use those simple detective tricks we talked about to try and find the source. Step 3, mitigate. Try the easy fixes first, like moving things around or using shielded cables. And finally, step 4, what we just covered, escalate wisely.
Use that expert ladder to call the right person at the right time. That's the whole strategy. And this is the most important takeaway from this whole series. You do not need to be a radio engineer to solve these problems. Your job isn't to get bogged down in the physics of it all. It's simply to have the good judgment to see there's a problem, follow a logical plan to check it out, and then make a decisive call for help when you need it. That's smart management.
So I want to leave you with this one final thought. Think about that one tech issue in your office. You know the one that just never seems to go away. What if it's not actually a tech problem? What if it's really just a communication problem, just waiting for you to make the right phone call?
Because at the end of the day, a quieter RF environment is just a more productive workplace. It's as simple as that. And with that, we wrap up our 10-part tutorial. Thank you so much for joining us on this journey through the RFI Detectives Report. I really hope you feel more empowered now to tackle those invisible glitches head-on.